Hello, I'm back. I've got more DVDs to show, and most of these ones are also Criterion's. A few of them are other companies. I think one's a Kino, and the other one might be something else. But anyways, these are my Bunuel DVDs, and Bunuel is one of my favorite directors as well. So let's get started with this group of DVDs. First one is, a surrealist classic, and it was the first film Bunuel made. It was the only film he made with Salvador Dali. That's Unchen Andalou. Oops, let's see. As you see on the cover there, you see I think it's Bunuel himself pulling on the eyelid, and that's the famous shot where you see the eye being cut out. It's a trick, with a cut to a cow's eye. That's what they used. But this film it doesn't have really any narrative or anything. It's just a series of images. It's just like a dream. And Bunuel was sort of a dream kind of filmmaker. And surrealists were into psychoanalysis and all that kind of stuff. So this is an interesting film. You have things like, how people say your hands are asleep, like if they get numb, well, they show it like ants on the hand. They show a moose or deer or something on a piano, and just weird images. It's an interesting film. It's not a long movie. It's like 17 minutes or something like that, 20 minutes. Next film he made, by the way, the Unchen Andalou, I think it means an Andalusian dog. Correct me on my translation if that's not correct. The next one is L'Age d'Or. This is a film Dali was originally going to collaborate with Bunuel on, but I guess they didn't, or he ditched or something. But this is another series of images. It doesn't really have a narrative or anything like that. It was banned. Let's see. Well, you know what? I think it was banned like for 50 years or something, and it's had an influence on people from Hitchcock to David Lynch, Fellini to Monty Python. It's an interesting film, and I think it's a bit longer than Unchen Andalou. It's let's see, how long is this? About an hour, a little over an hour. And L'Age d'Or means the golden age in French, but that's L'Age d'Or. Next film, it's a pretty good movie. It's called Viridiana, which stars Sylvia Pinel. I have 3 films of Bunuel's that feature her in the films he made, and this is one of them. I believe it was their first collaboration. This film is about a woman who's about to become a nun, and her uncle at his ranch or farm or whatever it is, he wants her to come back to his house before she takes her vows. And so she goes somewhat begrudgingly, and he does, when she arrives at his ranch, farm, whatever it is, in his house, he tries to seduce her. It's kind of creepy, I guess, but he ends up dying. I won't say how. And she inherits his land, and all these people that live on his land are they degenerates? They're like low class kind of people. And she decides to run it like a commune or something of that nature, and I guess she sort of gets taken advantage of. It's an interesting movie. It's worth a watch. I like it a lot. I've watched it a few times, and sure I'll watch it more. The next film is a film that is pretty interesting too. It's another Sylvia Pinnell. She's like one of the minor characters in it, and it's called The Exterminating Angel. You can see like a, let's see, a lamb somewhere in there. It's got surrealist touches. You know, it's about these wealthy people in Mexico. I think they returned from the opera, and they're about to have dinner, and just before they get there to this person's house, the maids and only a few butlers stay, but basically the maids and the kitchen staff, they decide to leave all of a sudden, like for basically no reason. And in the kitchen, you see things like you see under a table a few lambs, which is not logical or anything, but it's supposed to be like that. Bunuel didn't try to make films that didn't have to have justifications. They were more dreamlike. They more existed on the level of the absurd. So, there were lambs that were in the kitchen, and then later on, after they have dinner, they go to the parlor, the rich people, the people that are the wealthy people and the higher class type people. And after a recitation on the piano, they realize they can't leave the room. There's nothing blocking them from leaving the room. There's no wall, but somehow they don't leave. They sleep there, and basically they sort of like give into the primal urges. They like sort of go back to like caveman mentality, and sort of abandoning all their kind of class formalities. And anyways, weird things sort of happen at night, like you see the lambs nearby in the adjoining living room walking by, and a bear walks by, and you see a severed hand walk around the room while they're sleeping. And at the end of the film, there's a bunch of Mexican people outside the mansion wondering what's going to happen, and I think there's children that are wondering why their parents are still in there, and I won't give the rest of it away. And the title, I think, doesn't have to have any significance with what the movie's about. Also, if you watch Jean-Luc Godard's Weekend, there's an homage to The Exterminating Angel, where this character named, what's his name? I can't remember the name, the character's name escapes me. I'm drawing a blank. And anyways, he lifts, before he hijacks the two main characters in Weekend's car, he lifts his arms in a field before he hijacks their car, and there's these jump cuts of these lambs around his body, and they're herding around him, and he just walks through them, and you know how lambs sort of huddle together. But that's an homage to The Exterminating Angel. So that's The Exterminating Angel. Next up is a movie with a woman named Jeanne Moreau. It's Diary of a Chambermaid. This is about a woman, I would say she's a higher class type woman. She decides to go to the countryside of France and become a maid. And there's like fetish kind of things in it, like feet kind of obsession. Like one of the people is one of the people that lives at the mansion where she works has this fetish for shoes, and has her put on shoes. And another one of the servants, I think, is accused of murdering a little girl, and the main character, Jeanne Moreau, tries to find out how that came about. And well, I'm not going to spoil that part for you, but you'll find out what happens with the Jeanne Moreau character and the alleged murderer servant who I believe picks her up to take her to the mansion in a horse and buggy kind of thing. But that's Diary of a Chambermaid. This one, I believe, was going to be a collaboration between other directors. I don't know if it's Fellini or other ones. I think it was Fellini, maybe Bergman, but he did it by himself, and I don't know if he released it within his own lifetime, but this is Simon of the Desert. Simon of the... Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot to show the booklets. It just slipped my mind. Sorry about that. I just slipped my mind. This is Radiana's booklet. There's Radiana there. There she is, sort of like... no, that's not good. Let's see. You know, like Radiana the nun, she sort of puts herself through like suffering, like, you know, Christ would, physical type suffering. Another nice picture there. Or Fernando Rey and Silvia Pinal. So Fernando Rey was one of his, you know, regulars, Bunuel's regulars. Diary of a Chambermaid. It doesn't really have, it's more of like a pamphlet than a book. Let's just take a look at this. That's Diary of a Chambermaid. And here's the Exterminating Angel. Look at this. This is a nice image right here. That's really nice. I like that a lot. There they are, the wealthy people. Tearing into the walls, becoming less civilized, more primal, you know. And last, Simon of the Desert. I'm going to make a second video because my time's running out here, and I'm recording on an iPhone, and they only allow 15 minutes. I don't know if that's the case with desktops or laptops, but that is the case, I guess, with iPhones. By the way, in Simon of the Desert, it's about this guy who stands on a pillar, as you see there, named Simon. And he gets tempted by the devil, who's played by Silvia Pinal. You see her at the bottom there. She does things like, you know, flash him, and there she's playing like a naughty schoolgirl. You know. It's an interesting film, you know. You have to judge it based on the fact that it's, you know, short. It's not a total feature, so you have to maybe give it a little slack on that. I got to cut now, so the next video will be the follow-up, the conclusion to this. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be right back.